Hello! You've got probably used to those enormous cosmic ray bursts, just as I did, but this one is worth to be recorded for one reason. Soon after this enormous neutron density appeared on this chart, seismic activity started to grow as well. 3 different quakes occurred in a rather short period of time. First one was a 5.6 magnitude quake which took place close to Geomagnetic Islands at 1823 UTC. 20 minutes later there was another quake, 5.1 magnitude, not too far from the previous one. Third quake was the weakest one, but it took place in Egypt, what makes it rather unusual. If the dots from 18th of July, which are visible at Bartol's page, caused probably this earthquake's outburst, those which were recorded one day later would have to affect us even stronger. However, people who are responsible for this monitor decided that it will be better for us if we won't see most of the readings from 19th of July. Thankfully, there are different sources of data, and it is possible to compare the cosmic rays with the earthquakes which took place at this time. Because it is clear that the seismic activity was indeed affected. There were again 3 quakes. First one took place in Vietnam, and it was 4.5 magnitude strong. It took place 14 minutes after 12 UTC. Around 10 minutes later, Tonga took a 6.2 magnitude quake. Third quake took place almost 2 hours later, at 14:14 UTC, in Owen Fracture Zone region. Its magnitude reached 6 points on Richter scale. Of course, I've checked the ionospheric monitors at the time of the second earthquake outburst, and it looks that there are some readings which can confirm my claims about the cosmic rays and their influence on seismic activity. But first I have to show you how we are being fooled by people who know exactly what is going on. Let's see how much we can trust the official science and agencies which are supposed to inform us about all possible threats. It looks that it has been decided to keep us in the darkness. The less we know, the better we sleep. And those people don't like when we are waking up. Just look how easily those graphs can be manipulated by those who are in control. It wasn't too hard for them to make a small correction. Poof! Huge red dot is simply gone from this chart. Magic. Thankfully, there are still some people who will always expose their manipulations. Maybe some of you will finally understand. No one will tell you what's happening. If you think that you will hear in the news that our planet is changing because of some cosmic influence, you are just fooling yourself. But enough of chatting. Let's check the ionosphere. I'll begin from the neutral gas temperature. And I will mark the location of those 3 quakes which I've pointed out couple minutes earlier. Maybe some of you remember that in previous movie there was a clear increase of heat over the epicenters couple hours before the quakes took place. Here you have it. 3 different events and 3 quakes taking place couple hours later, almost in the same areas. In the cases of the first and the last quakes, we can see as well that the opening of main equatorial flux tube was by coincidence hovering above the epicenters. Tonga, where the third quake occurred, is placed too far from the equator to be caused by the low energy field equatorial magnetic connection. However, we can see there's some kind of ionospheric connection as well. I think that this influence originated rather over southern pole than over the equator. Some of you started probably to wonder already why I didn't still show you the SWMF plus RCM magnetospheric monitors. Believe me, that I really would love to look at them. However, they are not being updated since 18th of July. But now I would like to return to the MACC atmospheric monitors and the reactive gas emissions in the northeast part of Northern America, which I've pointed out in last 2 episodes. It looks that just by another coincidence, I have quite a lot of them lately. A volcano activity was recorded exactly in the same spot. Not to mention all those wildfires in the neighborhood. But next point was scored by Julia, who noticed those increased emissions in the Northeast Asia. Right now it is the most active emission on this planet. It didn't take too long before a quake popped out right next to the hotspot. Although it wasn't too strong, only 5.2 magnitude, its location is rather unusual. Second reason why it is worth to mention this quake is the fact that USGS simply ignored this quake and it is missing from their database. But it's still not all. In last couple days, quite a lot of my viewers asked me about this weird hole in the ground which appeared suddenly in Siberia. I've checked the location of the hole. It is visible on all MACC monitors that this emission is stretching itself all the way to the region where the hole is located. Good news! It looks that the density of cosmic rays started finally to drop. It can be connected with the fact that Earth entered at last a calmer part of the interplanetary magnetic field. Solar wind velocity dropped from 340 to 260 kilometers per second. It was connected with a rapid change of the magnetic orientation. However, there wasn't any sector boundary crossing, which would be recorded by Enlil satellite. On the second hand, when we'll look at LM Sol, heliospheric monitors, we will notice a small positive field on the Sun's surface, which is currently facing our planet. On the synoptic map, we can see nicely that the positive magnetic pole of the Sun still remains over the equator, and that it is divided into separate fields. No, this is not how the solar magnetic dipole supposed to look like. While we're talking about the Sun, I need to mention the Soho image on which we can see two strange anomalies above northern hemisphere. However, they look rather disturbing. It seems that they are caused by planned satellite maintenance, called bake-out. Every 3 months, the camera is being slightly heated up. Because the anomaly wasn't recorded on any other solar images, this is the most possible cause of those strange light sources. Sorry, it's not PX. Now something especially for D5UNCR. How the hell should I spell it? Dunker? Dancer? Help! Here is something what shows nicely that the seismic activity is not smaller than a couple years before. I live in Europe, and I'm pretty sure that all those quakes are not normal. If I would start to record this page 1 hour earlier, I would capture a nice quake swarm in the Alps, which was removed from the map not so long ago. 3.6 magnitude in Poland. A witness says that his home was seriously shaking, and he lives 245 kilometers from the epicenter. Strange. I live closer and I didn't feel anything. A strong 6.8 magnitude earthquake hit the Fiji region. As always in this area, it was very deep, 610 kilometers below the surface. It took place just before 15 UTC. And right at this time, a very sharp spike of cosmic ray density appeared on those readings. Notice, however, that except of single bursts, density started to rapidly drop on some of those graphs. It looks that our planet is right now influenced in opposite way. Interesting. It looks that currently there are some geomagnetic disturbances taking place. They are being recorded almost in every possible ground station. However, the auroral power seems to be unaffected by this event, what can mean that we are dealing with low energies. There is not too much on the ACE solar wind data, what would explain those disturbances. However, there is some kind of variation of the velocity taking place. It is too weak to be guilty of affecting our magnetic field. Much more interesting readings can be seen on the magnetic field graph. It looks that the By component became the strongest one. Almost minus 10 nanoteslas. Bz is weaker, minus 5 nanoteslas. And Bx is at 0. Such magnetic directions have probably very spectacular effect on the magnetosphere. However, I won't show it to you. Surprised? Don't worry, you're not alone. I was surprised even more when I've noticed that besides the new SWMF monitors, which are offline since 18th of July, the rest of magnetospheric signets is dead as well. Old SWMF CATs and magnetopulse position monitor, current ring monitors, and even radiation belt. All of them stopped working soon after 16 UTC. However, in the case of the last ones, we can see a clear increase of backside low energy particle gusts. There is no sense to hope that the ionospheric monitors were spared. All of them didn't update since 16 UTC. What the hell happened at this time? It gets even weirder when you check the CTIPE ionospheric monitors on the Vibes on the Universe page. They seem to work nicely. I don't know what is taking place in the CCMC, but something isn't right for sure. By the way, I'm still waiting for the results of two another runs which I've requested couple days ago. But look here. Someone requested a SWMF run and called the request exoplanet. How a model designed to simulate the magnetosphere can be capable to track exoplanets? I have no clues. For the end, some very nice graphs. This one shows the correlation between carbon dioxide, Arctic geomagnetic field, and Arctic temperature. Looking at this graph, we can make a very short conclusion. Carbon doesn't have to match with the global warming. Just to compare, this graph shows the correlation between magnetic field over northern hemisphere and the Arctic temperature anomaly. Funny that after publishing those graphs, people connected with science still claim that we are responsible for the climate change. Okay, it's time to end this lesson. Class dismissed. Peace.